Hello, and welcome back to the Otaku Overload. My name is weebrabbit, of course, here with the Legend of Jonathan, and we are back for episode 11 of the podcast. This week, we have quite a few things to talk about. I'm excited because I watched quite a few new things, and there is a news story that I find really interesting after a lot of silence. You guys will see what I mean in a moment. But yeah, I think this is going to be a good one. I'm excited, and yeah, Legend of Jonathan,
I'm
say
excited
hello.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's me, the Legend Jonathan. I'm back for episode 11. Very happy to be here as always. And yeah, I brought more to the table. So I'm excited to talk about the stuff I have done this past week.
All right, perfect. And with that being said, we always start with our weeks. We discuss what we've been up to, and Legend Jonathan always goes first. I mean, usually. So without further ado, if you would like to go first, take it away.
Yeah, I'm gonna go first. So as usual, I watched the new episode of Urusei Yatsura. Um Same. I'm just gonna keep it brief because honestly, the episode, it's pretty funny, and I do like going over the plot, and I am gonna go over it, but I'm not gonna kind of linger on to it. So the episode, like usual, is split into two halves, two different stories. Um, the first half, it's that basically the teachers of Tomobiki High, they want to prohibit all the students from eating outside their classrooms, like going outside into town. And so they make an operation type project where basically they try to act like as though they're on good terms with the students while the students know what's going on. Basically, they're like, okay, during lunch, when the students try to leave their classrooms, we'll try to trap them outside the classroom in the outside the building, and we'll try to prevent them from leaving. Basically, it's this whole entire war between the students and the teachers, like the staff. And it's them trying to basically catch the kids so that they can't eat food outside of their school, basically.
Hmm.
It's super weird. And then they're one of the biggest differences is that in the manga and the original anime, their second homeroom teacher was like this skinny dude with glasses, and he was like really chill. Here, since they never introduced him, basically they replaced him with some random old dude, and basically they almost run over this old dude like twice.
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, because he's trying to catch the kids. He's like, I'm not gonna let these youngsters beat me, blah blah. I can catch them. And the other teacher that's with him, they're like, no, pops. If you can't do it, then just give it a break. He's like, no, I can't let these youngsters beat me, blah blah. And then Mendo pushes the teacher, and he falls on the floor. And then the old dude's like, no, pops, this and that. And then what's his name? Ataru's running at him because he ate something spicy because she likes spicy stuff, but it was too spicy. Basically, what happened was because he ate it, he got too spiced, I guess you can say. Like he got too hot from it that he started chasing people, and so he pushes the teacher down, but the teacher almost dies, the old dude. And so
Okay.
it's this
This
whole
is so
it's
random.
this
The
whole
teacher almost died. He's like, okay.
yeah. And so
Oh,
this
that
whole
sounds really
episode is
funny.
basic. Yeah, this whole it was pretty funny. It really was. Um Especially because the dude afterwards, he thinks the dude died. He's like, "Oh, pops, I'll miss you," blah blah. And then the old dude's like, "You really think I'm dead?"
Oh my
And
God.
so basically it's this whole war. Then I think their teacher gets arrested because he's dressed up as a cat, like one of those lucky cats, because it's like the restaurant's mascot. And basically, since there was a police officer right there, yeah, the teacher got arrested, and now they're gonna put him in jail. And
Okay.
so, yeah, because basically the dude convinced the cops. They're like, yeah, look at this creep bothering um these kids, or being like a pervert. And I was like, oh my God, this guy got in trouble. And so the teacher the whole time, he's like, oh no, pervert, blah blah. And the cop's like, uh-huh, sure.
Wow, it sounds like that dude just gets screwed over the whole episode.
Yeah, the whole episode's literally that at the beginning, it's him trying to screw the kids over. And for the remainder of the episode, you just see him in the police office.
Jeez.
And it sucks. And in the second half, it's that basically Lum Shinobu, Ran, and that girl Sakura, all of them, they're eating at a restaurant with Ten, who's like Lum's cousin, and then he's hanging out with them, and then out of nowhere he's like, "Oh yeah, I have this little present for all of you guys," and it's because the reason why I just remembered is because Sakura, she's engaged to some dude that basically he's like a sorcerer dude. And
Mm.
the point is that basically, since Ten likes Sakura, he's like, yeah, but just because you're like gonna get married to someone doesn't mean it's gonna work out. Because he's getting all jealous. And she's like, what do you mean? And so I guess to convince her that basically he's the right person for her, he buys this thing from online, from like space, that if you put your eye in it, you can see who you're destined to be with.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but the problem is that because this is Urusei Yatsura, nothing ever goes right. This kid ended up buying the wrong item. And basically, it was an item that if you put your eye against it, it's basically that whoever ends up being in the thing, you're not supposed to get married to that person apparently. Like they ruined your life.
Oh god.
So basically, so every person they would see in that little thing, it was these people that were screwing them over. So like Sakura, for example, she saw Mendo and Ataru, and she freaked out, and she's like, "No, how can I like get married to like two horn dogs, especially horn dogs that are like really young, blah blah blah." And then Rand sees, I think it's like a taro, and so she gets all disgusted and she's like, ew, like I have to marry, and then she says darling on purpose because that's what
Yeah, Lum calls him.
yeah, and so she's kind of like, oh, like gross. I have to get married to darling, basically. That's what she says. And then Lum sees Ray or whatever that Oni dude's called. And so she's like, oh no, I can't tell Rand that like I saw him because she's gonna like flip her shit. And so basically everyone's over here arguing. And then at the end, this dude he checks, and then he finds out that basically, he ordered the wrong item, basically.
Oh wow.
And then instead of getting the better one and saying, hey, it was a mistake, he's like, no, everyone's a stupid idiot, so they deserved it or something like that.
Oh my god. It's kind of funny though,
Yeah.
because in a way it kind of confirms that I guess Lum and Otaru should be together. Because notice how she didn't see Otaru as the wrong choice,
hmm
and the other
hmm
girls did. So it's kind of proves I guess they should be together. Funny enough, I just thought about that.
hmm Yeah, and then oh right, and then Shinobu was funny because the person that she should never end up with is a Sakura's fiance,
Oh
but
wow.
she's so convinced that basically they're destined together because the dude's like really handsome that
Yeah.
she tells him, she's like, yeah, me and you are destined, blah blah blah. And then since the sorcerer dude's kind of an idiot, he's like, I see, that's very interesting, and he just doesn't get it, like it doesn't click at all. And so basically when Sakura like hits him on the head, he's like, I don't get it though, like what are you guys talking about?
Okay.
So like like he just doesn't get what, so like literally like he understands that they're destined, but somehow he just
Yeah, that's like one
doesn't get
dense
it.
dude. That's one dense dude.
Yeah. And then what's crazy is that basically I remember in the original anime, because I already made my video talking about the thing about sexism and racism in anime. In the original anime, there is a scene where it shows like like those monkeys where they use the pans and they clap them together or whatever, and they have like the teeth.
Mm.
Basically, since they have their weird depictions over there, they replaced it with a African American, basically.
Wow.
And it was like messed up. But obviously, you can tell that it's definitely like only a person that animated it. They purposely put it because in the manga it's not there. Here, we actually got good representations of like dark skinned people because the dude who sold the item, he actually looked normal. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, another one. I'm like,
Oh,
another
that's
good
funny.
depiction.
Yeah, like they fixed it up. That's pretty
Is
cool. That's cool.
mm-hmm. So yeah, that was the episode. Thankfully, it wasn't like the whole episode, like I said. The second one is pretty short, so that's why I explained it. The first one is much longer. There's more stuff to it. Um, so yeah, that's what I watched of Urusei. The other thing I watched another series of Romomiku Mo, Takahashi. I watched Ranma one half.
Oh, nice.
That's what
That's
I
cool.
watched.
That's cool.
So I watched it in English actually. Because I'm so used to like Japanese that I watched it for the first time in English instead. Oh my God, does like the girls' voices and some of the guys they sound normal, but Rama when he's a guy, he sounds like he doesn't give a shit that he's doing the voice. Like he has no emotion in the voice.
Oh, that's weird. That's funny.
So when he's fighting against this dude that he wants to date this girl. That's like the main Ranma's like fiance basically. He's like, yeah, I'll be whoever you are, blah blah. And he's like, fine. He's like, I'm Ranma something something, and I'm from the school of like of martial arts something. And he sounds so bored.
That's funny.
And I'm just like, oh my Lord. Well, when he turns into a girl, he has way more emotion in the voice. And I was like, dude, and then like the voice, not even just that, he sounds like it's forced, where it's like they actually hired a teenager, but like he's forcing his voice to be much younger and he just can't do it.
Weird. Huh.
Because you know how Sora, the dude, he had to force he said when he did Sora in Kingdom Hearts 1, he had to force his voice to be a little bit more like his younger voice or something like that. It would be like that, except if he couldn't actually force it. That's basically what it would be like if he just couldn't force it, basically. So it was really weird. And so yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. I liked the fact that they introduced the martial arts into it. I thought that was pretty funny, and I just can't wait to keep watching it.
I got you. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Do you see some overlap between like Urusei Yatsura and Ranma?
Oh yes.
Because I mean, same creator, so I was wondering if you can see like, some overlap of stuff, like some, you know.
Oh yes, definitely. I noticed that basically the relationships are very toxic. That's one. And then two, I noticed that for in the Japanese dub, for example, I know that a lot of the voice actors returned for Ranma. And then another one is that basically I recognize that what's it called? One of the like some of the characters, the way they act towards Akane, that's her name, I think. The fiance of Ranma, that basically the way they act is very like how they acted towards Lum and Urusei Yatsura. So that's something I noticed. And then lastly, I thought this was going to be the last one I just remembered. It's that the series is just really weird in general. So that's another one where it's just really weird and it's like very like it's like yeah, it's romance comedy, but it's like slapstick kind of like gag. So that's another thing I noticed too, that it's like that as well, where it's similar to Urusei with the humor and stuff.
Interesting.
And then
makes sense because I've always heard that this creator, she basically kind of like invented the whole harem rom-com. So that's why it makes sense. You see a lot of like overlapping stuff, and if stuff seems toxic, it's of course, how do you make like a harem rom-com? You have to have a lot of people competing and a lot of like love triangles and stuff and misunderstandings. So it wasn't trying to be like healthy relationships. She was trying to create something that was like funny and like a lot of drama and stuff and people getting involved with each other. So makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the anime I watched.
Nice.
What I did after that was I played 2 video games this week. I was grinding in Kingdom Hearts Re-Chain of Memories, and obviously, I was just getting new moves and stuff. I'm actually starting to love the game.
That's
like
nice.
A lot. Like I would say this is like one of my favorite Kingdom Hearts games. And even though the gameplay can get stressful at times, especially when grinding, I still feel like it's very, very worth it. And I'm just like, dude, yeah, it has a very unique gameplay that the other ones don't usually have. So I liked it a lot.
That's cool. That's good. You're enjoying it, instead of hating it. That's good.
Yeah, because I was like for example, I started getting certain moves, and when I would use them, like, oh, this makes it definitely easier and more fun. And I just like having these new moves when I keep getting them because I'm like, okay, now I got these new moves. Let me just upgrade the what's it called, like the card points. But then people are saying like, oh yeah, you need to like upgrade the HP. So I'm like, oh, like definitely after I get like this move, I'm definitely gonna try to like get my HP up. And so it's really this cool thing where I have to be very strategize all the time because I have to always be like, okay, what am I gonna do next? What am I gonna do in the battle? What am I gonna do outside the battle? Am I gonna like use this room? Am I gonna use this one? And I just like having this creativity where I have to like know what rooms to go to, but I can also just be like, no, let's just go to this room because I need to heal or I need to get this. And so I just like that a lot.
No, that's good. Like I said, it's good that you're enjoying it because before I know you were kind of not too fond of, playing it, and some of the stuff was kind of like, pissing you off a little bit. So it's good you're starting to enjoy the process
Hmm.
and the grind and stuff. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very happy about that personally too. And yeah, that was basically what I did with Kingdom Hearts. Outside of that, I have another game. I actually continued playing Sonic Frontiers. I finally went back to it
Hmm.
and I was able to progress the story and I'm almost done with the first world, which we're in January, so it's like, damn, that was
Yeah,
like months ago. I should
the
have
game
probably
came out a
gotten
while
past
ago.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's whatever.
But I feel
Whatever.
like at the same time, like, like it's my pace. I should probably just like be patient with it. Um, but yeah, I'm progressing the story. I'm having fun.
That's cool. Yeah, I wonder since you brought up Sonic Frontiers, I wonder when they're gonna keep adding more content. 'Cause you know how they had released that roadmap.
That's what I was wondering too.
So that's cool. Maybe as you start finally getting farther into it, maybe get towards the end, maybe more stuff will come out. So that's cool.
hmm And I put it on hard mode near like at one point because I just didn't care and I just want to get like the actual like because you know how Sonic games have like their true final bosses and all that.
Hmm.
So I put it to hard mode and yet the game felt more easier.
Oh, that's weird. Huh.
Yes, I was like, bro,
Okay.
like this game feels more easier. I'm like, nah.
I wonder what the difference is in difficulty.
I wondered too, actually, because I never saw like any
Like maybe
differences when I switched.
enemies die quicker, or like you take hits and lose more health or something. You'd probably have to look it up,
I think it's taking hits because I lost my rings like very instantly.
Mm,
But like fighting the enemies wasn't hard though. It felt like they were at the same difficulty as always though.
that's funny. That's what I'm saying. You'd have to look up what the difference are.
hmm
Cool.
And so yeah, that was basically my week. Yeah.
All right. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So if it's my turn for my week, I have three anime that I talked about last week. I'll talk about them real quick because I watched the second episode for each of them. Then I have two new anime to talk about that, they're new for this anime season. Well, actually, all of
Yeah.
them are new for this anime season, but two of them are like they just started, I guess. And then I have a movie to talk about, so I'll go into that real quick.
Let's go.
So first off, I talked about it last week. I watched the second episode of Tomo-chan is a Girl, and
Let's
basically
go.
that's the one I said. That's about this a girl. She's a big tomboy. She's been friends with this childhood friend of hers since forever. She's in love with him, but he doesn't really think of her as a girl. Doesn't really notice her. So this episode, it was kind of funny because it was split into two parts. In the first part, it was all about
Oh,
how when
that's cool.
they were on the bus. It was a bus. It wasn't even a train. It was a
Yeah.
bus, I think. Yeah. She was like, sitting next to him, but she got all shy about sitting like right next to him. So she stands up instead, and she's standing there on the bus. Like some old guy starts like trying to grope her,
Yeah.
and the guy notices. Her friend notices, and he gets really mad. He starts yelling at the old guy, and they get him arrested. And after that, he's like telling her like, "Oh, maybe you shouldn't wear like skirts anymore, and this and that, so you won't get groped and whatever." And she gets mad at first because she feels like, why is he like judging me and what I'm wearing and this and that? But that girl that's been giving her the advice, that's been like a friend of both of theirs, she kind of like notices what's going on, and she's like, "Oh, I think it might be that he like cares and he doesn't want to see you
hmm
like get like touched again. That's probably it." And so then she like because the girl always wears like a skirt, and then she wears like the like those shorts underneath, what do they call them, like the hot pants, what do you call them underneath?
Oh yeah.
And so she says I don't know why, but she says something about like, if you think that it's not that he like notices you watch it, he does notice you. It's just that I think, like I said, my theory is that he worries about you. So she like makes her take off like the shorts and just wear like the skirt. And of course, the guy, yeah, when he's like hanging out with her, she's wearing just a skirt for the first time. He's the girl who tells her, like, why do you wear such a short skirt? Like, you wear like a really short skirt. But you do kind of make up for it because I guess you have like the shorts. Like if you didn't wear the shorts, it would be like a very short skirt, and like I think like a lot of guys would like you draw them in or whatever. It's I'm saying that's what she like makes her take off the hot pants or whatever, makes her wear just the skirt. And sure enough, the guy, her friend, Jun, he starts being all shy. He won't like look at her and stuff because he like and it's funny. And so you kind of notice that maybe he kind of does have a little bit of a thing for her. Maybe he's not admitting to himself, and maybe he does. Start to notice her as like a girl. You know what I mean? So that's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And in the second half, they introduced that there's like this kind of blondish character that seems to be friend of Tomo. And I don't know, he might have like a little bit of crush on her. We're not really sure, but he likes to talk to her, whatever.
Boy.
And basically, this new girl came to school, like totally blonde. I think she's supposed to be from like Britain. And basically, when she sees that this guy is talking to Tomo, she gets jealous. And so she like says that Tomo is going to be like her enemy or whatever. But then that girl, once again, the one that gives them advice, she tells the blonde girl, like, oh, if you're worried that like, she's going to take the guy from you, like, don't be worried. Like, just follow her around. You'll see like what she's really into. And so sure enough, the blonde girl, she starts asking Jun to hang out with them, and supposedly so he can train her and a bunch of stuff. But she's like super girly, so she can't do anything. She's like really like she can't do a push-up, she can't like run, she gets tired. She has like really huge boobs, so she can't even like jump rope because they bounce everywhere and stuff. She's like super girly, like super feminine, super girly. And so, Tomo's jealous that like he's spending time with this girl. But then as soon as like Tomo shows up and she's jealous, the girl does catch on, like, so Tomo's interested in this guy. I don't have to worry about like the other guy being taken by Tomo. So she's like, oh, I'm not your enemy anymore, I don't want to trade. And then she leaves. And basically then from there they all become friends or whatever, because blonde girl notices that Tomo's not going to take that guy from her, and Tomo's like, oh, this girl seems nice, I guess. She's not really going after Jun, so I guess it's cool. So it was interesting. Now. So it was interesting just seeing that. Yeah, you kind of see that the relationships are progressing. Where maybe we know for sure Tomo likes the guy Jun, and maybe Jun does like her back a little bit. But he's kind of being a little slow to admit his feelings, I guess. But it had some funny moments, had some funny stuff. So it was pretty cool. So I enjoyed it. So that's 2 episodes so far. So far, I really enjoyed both of them. I'm interested to keep watching it. Then, jumping over to another one I talked about last week, I watched another episode of My Life as a Inukai-san's Dog. The thing is that the episodes are so short. They're only like 12 minutes. But, without the end credit and beginning credit, since each one's like a minute and a half. So think about like 13 minutes, minus like 3 minutes. So each episode's only like 10 minutes. So they're really short.
Yeah.
So not much really happened in this episode. All that really happened is that he... the guy in the dog body, he's like, okay, the last thing I remember, I was in my bedroom. If I get back to my bedroom, maybe I could find a clue of what happened to me, why I turned into a dog. And he was trying to like get out. I think he was trying to open the door. Of course, he couldn't because he's a little tiny dog. Then the girl took him for a walk, and they had their moment where like he ends up in her crotch because he like knocks her down to save her from getting hit by like a baseball. Then he takes a pee and he's embarrassed. He doesn't want to take a pee. He doesn't want to be a dog, but he does. And the girl thinks that she looks cute because like his legs like shaking and stuff. She's like making fun of him, taking pictures. And then they end up back home. And basically, the girl's friend comes over. She's supposed to be like a gyaru. She has like the blonde hair. She's tan, all that stuff. And he has a plan where it's like, oh, if I, impress this girl enough, maybe she'll think I'm really cute and she'll say she wants to borrow me and like, take me home. And so she lives it closer to him, I think. That's his plan, so he can try to get back to his house. And it ends where he's like, oh, I'm gonna like do some stuff to impress her, and she'll think I'm cute. And that's where it ended, because it was really short. But a lot of fan service still, a lot of like panty shots and stuff. So that's just that type of anime. If you look at the tags, it's definitely an ecchi. So there you go.
Damn.
Then in Buddy Daddies, it was really funny. It's so weird because the guys, that's when I said where it's the 2 guys, they're like assassins. They find a little girl in one of their missions, and she says that supposedly She's there for her dad, and the blonde guy basically, in order to protect her, he says, "I'm your dad," and the little girl like latches onto him. Basically, in the second episode, it's about them trying to deal with having the little girl in their lives because she makes a whole mess around the apartment. She acts like a child. She wants to like play while they're trying to like, do like their stuff they need to do. Then they have a mission, and like they try to leave her in the truck so they can go inside and like mess up the cameras and take out all the guys or whatever. But the little girl, she needed a pee, so she got out of the truck and she like used the bathroom in the place they were like taken care of, like to like bring it down.
Yeah.
And so like the blonde guy had like run away with the little girl everywhere. I was like the guy with the black hair is like shooting everybody down. It's just super silly, and it's so crazy because these guys, I'm telling you, they're like here shooting people and doing like all this like, assassin work, and meanwhile the little girl's just running around all happy, not knowing what's happening, and like the blonde guy's trying to protect her. It's like so silly. So it was just more of that. It was just more of like seeing that they're gonna have to figure something out because like the little girl is definitely getting in the way of like their work and stuff, and like they're not used to like taking care of a child. So it's funny moments like that. And we're gonna see how they progress of taking care of this girl, I guess. So
yeah.
And then jumping over to new anime. The first one that I watched that was a new that like debuted like this earlier this week or within the last week was NieR Automata version 1.1a, and that is the anime adaptation of the NieR Automata video game. And pretty cool for anyone who's played the game. Basically, this first episode covers the prologue, what I would call the prologue. And it's kind of cool because for anyone who once again knows about the game, there's different routes that lead to like different endings. And it's kind of funny because you see that it covers parts of Route A and B at the same time, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it was pretty good. I would say for covering like the first like prologue in the first episode, it did pretty good. I thought the pacing was honestly all right. I think it's done better than like a lot of other anime where like rushes through stuff. Like, the fact that it covered like the whole prologue, I thought it felt well paced. I'm trying to really think about it, and I think it covered everything at a good pace, honestly. Because a lot of it's like fighting and stuff, like the way it kind of like, I would say I thought it was well paced. This first episode, I thought it was pretty good. The anime mostly looks okay. It's just when they use like a lot of CG. Not a lot of CG. They use CGI for like the mechs that they fly in and some other stuff. And that's where it does look kind of It doesn't look like the best. But I thought the other stuff, like the character designs themselves and like the environments and stuff, I thought that looked pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Nice.
So I thought this first episode was a good adaptation so far, like I said, of the prologue. So
nice.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of watching it because I was gonna play the Switch one, but then I didn't have enough space, and I'm gonna definitely add it to the Switch. And
the bad thing is that it might spoil some stuff that I think is really like impactful when you play it yourself. So we'll talk more about that later in the podcast. Actually, I have some thoughts on that. We're gonna, it's gonna come up. But as someone who if you already played the game, you might be interested in watching it. And then who knows? Maybe watching it might convince some people to play the game, because if they find the story interesting enough, they might be like, hey, I want to experience some of this stuff myself. And the other thing I think is kind of cool is that I know from the previews, it is supposed to cover some stuff that wasn't in the game, but was like in bonus material. So I'm curious for like those episodes. Cool. Those are the ones I really want to see when they come up.
I feel like that would probably be like either near the end or in the middle or something.
It's probably gonna be in the middle, I would imagine. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely thinking about getting the game and then definitely checking either the anime while playing the game or deciding to, just watch the anime afterwards, and that's it.
Exactly.
Because I know a bit about it. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Then the last anime that I saw that, like I said, was kind of new within like this last week or so is that the second season of Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro came out. And once again, it's just, I've been following this anime for a while, as well as the manga. I think I started reading the manga like shortly before the anime debuted. And it's just one of those things where it has a rough start, where it does seem like the girl's bullying the guy a little too much. It seems a little sadistic. And you're kind of like, why does he even pay attention to her? What's up there? But as it progresses, you do see that they do develop an actual like friendship and like relationship and stuff. And you kind of see why they're into each other, and you kind of see too that it looks like she has older siblings that probably like tease her a lot. So that's probably why she acts the way she does too, because like she probably thinks like it's normal to like tease someone you care about. I guess you kind of see like some of that stuff. And anyway, the second season somehow there was already 2 episodes out, so I watched the 2 episodes of that. And yeah, it's just more of the fun dynamic where she's always teasing him, but that's funny because sometimes she thinks she's teasing him, but then like he'll do something and he'll totally catch her by surprise, so then she gets embarrassed, which is like kind of funny to see sometimes. He like turns the tables on her.
Wrong, yeah.
Yeah, so the first episode pretty standard. I wouldn't say it was anything too special. It was just kind of easing us back into like, oh yeah, she like teases him, and you kind of see like some of the stuff she does. Then the second episode was pretty good because he invites her to the zoo because the main point is the main character, he's like an artist. His thing is art. He's really good at drawing.
Oh yeah,
and
her,
and her thing is that she's really good at I think it's judo. She's like really athletic. She's good at like judo and like swimming and stuff, I think. And so she's really athletic. He's really into like drawing. And so basically he invites her to the zoo so that they can like draw. It's almost like a little date. And it's cute seeing them on the little date. And then at the end, it's kind of cool because he says like, oh, it's really easy to draw stuff when it's something you care about or whatever. Because she's like asking him for advice on how to like draw really good. And at the end, she ends up like drawing him looking at like an exhibit of animals, and she like does it like really well. So you can tell it's like, oh, I get it. So she like really cares about like yeah. So she like drew him really nice and stuff. So that was cute. And yeah, you can kind of tell it's so you can start telling that she like likes him and stuff because like when she overhears that he's invited to the zoo, she was like looking it up on her phone and she's all like excited and blushing and stuff. So it's cute. It's a cute rom-com. It's kind of weird. It has kind of like a weird start, but as it progresses, it's really sweet and it's like funny and stuff. So
the way it started was very like she was a big.
Yeah, it was like really like she was really sadistic and stuff. It's because originally the guy who draws this or a girl, I think it's a guy, he like drew all sorts of weird doujins and stuff.
Oh
and so
yeah,
it took a while for him to be like, I need to like calm it down. So
and then I was gonna mention that when you were mentioning like her whole thing, I was gonna mention that she's a swimmer. Yeah, that's her.
And then later she does a lot of judo and stuff too. So she's really athletic,
okay.
Like I said. But yeah, really fun. Just like I said, it's a fun rom-com. Maybe a little bit of a rough start, but like I said, as it progresses, it gets sweeter, it gets nicer. You kind of start rooting for them and stuff. So it's fun.
Yeah.
So that's it.
There's a fusion dance reference.
There's all sorts of references, actually. It's really funny. There's all sorts of like, anime references and stuff. It's actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for anime. I'll see if I talk about some of these next week. We'll see. Some of them I might talk about for like another episode or so. Some of them I might just like wait until like the end of the season to talk about them. We'll see. Then finally, I had said I watched a movie. That's what I'm pretty excited to talk about. So I finally watched Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
That's
cool. I had heard a lot of good stuff about it. I was excited to watch it because I really liked the first Puss in Boots. Honestly, I thought it was like pretty fun.
Yeah, it was pretty lit.
And it's crazy that if you look, the last Puss in Boots came out in 2011. And so I was always
we
like,
waited a whole decade for it.
Yeah, I was like, why didn't they ever make a second part to it? If it was like, it would make sense, especially because if you watch the first Puss in Boots, it's a prequel, and we don't know how he ended up like meeting. I mean, I know how he met Shrek and Donkey, but we don't know at what point he became an ogre hunter. That's not covered in the first movie. So I'm like, they should make a sequel that kind of ties in how does he become an ogre hunter? How does he end up in Far, Far Away, which, is where Shrek lives. They never did that.
Yeah.
Funny part is they make the second part, and guess what? This one takes place after. It takes place after all the Shrek movies, so we still don't know how he became an ogre hunter. So that's weird, but it doesn't matter. The point is, even though I'm disappointed that they still haven't filled in like that part of Puss's life, doesn't matter. Point is, it takes place sometime after, the last Shrek movie. Basically, the premise is that, cats have 9 lives, but Puss is kind of an idiot, and so he wasted 8 of his lives. He at the beginning of the movie, you see him lose his 8th life, and the doctor tells him, like, yo, you need to retire because you only have 1 life left, and you're going to, like, die for good, right? And so basically... movie starts where he's trying to be careful. He wants to become like a domesticated cat. You might have like seen that in like the trailer where he has like a long beard. He's
Oh
living with a
yeah.
crazy cat lady. What pushes him into action is that he wants his lives back. He wants to keep adventuring, and basically when Goldilocks, because there's different enemies, different based on different fairy tales. One of them is Goldilocks, and Goldilocks, voiced by Florence. I don't know if it's Pugh. I think her name's Pugh. Florence Pugh, Poe, whatever. I think it's Pugh. Florence Pugh, who came out in a bunch of stuff like Black Widow, that sort of thing. She is part of the three bears crime family. Like Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear. Goldilocks is like she's an orphan and they like adopted her, so she's part of like that crime family. And basically, they're looking for Puss because they're like, if there's anyone who can help us steal like this map, it's Puss. And basically, the map is supposed to lead you to a wishing star. That if you make it like through like this dark forest, so you make it to like the wishing star, you can like wish for anything you want. And that's what like starts Puss's adventure. That he's like, yo, if I steal this map and I make my way to the star, I can wish for my lives back. Yeah, exactly. That's what like pushes him into adventure. And it's a really good movie. You really need to watch it for yourself, but it's really fun because one of the enemies is the three bears crime family, like I said. And then another one, if you've ever heard of like that poem about little Jack Horner who sat in the corner. Yeah. Now he's big Jack Horner, and he's voiced by John Mulaney. That comedian who came out as like Spider-Ham. He voices him, and he's like this like entrepreneur, like business guy with like a pie enterprise, and he wants to start for himself. So that's like another big enemy that he's fighting.
That's super cool.
And then there's this crazy wolf. The wolf is like so cool.
Oh, I saw it.
And,
it was super cool. Yeah,
they have like really good fights and stuff. And the wolf, he's voiced by Wagner Moura. That if you look him up, he played Pablo Escobar in the Narcos show.
Oh, so
cool. He's like a hardcore actor. And so that's another enemy that Puss has to deal with because there's this wolf chasing him down. And then he, of course, on his side, Kitty Softpaws is back after he kind of got separated from her. She makes an appearance again. And this time he has like this little dog called Perrito that it's like this therapy dog. His family, like, he has like a really sad backstory.
Oh, I've heard the backstory.
Don't spoil it. He has a really like sad backstory, and so he ends up tagging along too because he was pretending to be a cat and he met Puss. So basically, it's Puss, the dog, and Kitty Softpaws, and they're competing against all the other bad guys to like make it to the wishing star. Like I said, you need to watch it for yourself. It has like a really good story, really good animation, really cool fight scenes. Character designs are pretty cool. Really funny. I thought it had like a really good comedy, which was really cool. And yeah, people have been arguing that they think this is one of those like rare examples where the sequel's better than like the first movie. And I would agree, honestly. I think so. Because like the first one I thought was already pretty fun, but it was kind of basic. This one has like a lot more going on. I would say like the animation stuff is like really like I would say, yeah, I think it's honestly better than the first one.
Based off of what I've seen and from like people, what they've told me, and what I've seen like trailers and like clips and stuff, yeah, I definitely think this one gives more it goes more in depth compared to like the first one, because the first one feels kind of just like it's like a Shrek movie that just happens to focus specifically on Puss in Boots and that's it, and it's just his life. But here it feels like they're just trying to kind of where it's like it's actually his own story.
Yeah, it's like a much deeper adventure, and there's like more going on with the characters and stuff. Yeah.
And I just like the fact that everyone liked it, and then based off of what I've seen, and I'm gonna actually try to watch the movie, like the whole thing. I like all the characters, especially the wolf. Like, dude, I saw his. I'm not gonna spoil his introduction either, but like the way they introduce him is super good, though. Like, it's a super good introduction.
The wolf is like such a cool antagonist. He's so good.
Yeah.
And like I said, even the little fight scenes that they have, like him and the and Puss in Boots, they're so good, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying. This movie, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really good. And it's kind of cool that DreamWorks is kind of trying to like even see if you go like the Wikipedia, it says with this and the bad guys, they've been inspired by Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse to be like more creative with like their art style and how they do stuff. And yeah, so far, they've been doing pretty good. I thought the Bad Guys was also pretty good, honestly. I watched it, also pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh yeah, I seen the Bad Guys. It was really good.
Yeah, DreamWorks is they've been doing pretty good so far. Like this one's really good. And then just the one thing that I guess will be kind of a spoiler, and it's like a minor spoiler, but they hint at the end that we might be getting more Shrek in the future.
Yeah, I saw it.
That's like the one thing I'll kind of spoil. They kind of hint that we might get more Shrek in the future, which is kind of cool. Because the last Shrek movie was in 2010, and then the Puss in Boots movie was in 2011.
Puss in Boots, yeah.
Yeah, and then since then it had been like we hadn't seen anything from that series or whatever. So it's kind of cool. We'll have to see what happens.
I hope they actually keep this art style for Shrek, because I like the realistic art style, because it does give this whole like oh my god, like a more grimmy looking like fairy tale. Like it's more accurate to the fairy tales. But I feel like it would be cool with here that they made it look more like a storybook if they do that with Shrek, to give that feeling that this really is a.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they decide to do. We'll really have to see what they decide to do. That's what I'm saying. I'm curious to see what they do in the future, since they tease out more Shrek. And then that's the thing too. If they tease more Shrek too, it seems like it's been a while since he was in contact with Shrek. Puss in Boots, it seems like it's been a while since he. So is there going to be a time skip? Or they had kind of said maybe they're going to do like a soft reboot. Like what's going to happen with that if we do get more Shrek too? I'm kind of curious now where they're going with all this. Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. So I definitely recommend it. I think it's really good. I would say check it out if you have a chance. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, there you go. That's the stuff that I watched. So like I said, a lot of anime, a movie that I recommend. And yeah, there you go, guys. Pretty cool. I really enjoyed everything I watched this week. So heavy week, but a good week. Alrighty, with that being said, since that's out of the way, I want to jump over the news. There's 2 news stories that I have planned to talk about for this week. One of them is a little bit, they're both kind of light, but they're still kind of worth talking about. I'm kind of wondering, where we're going to go with both of them. So I'm kind of curious. I want to keep an eye on both of these stories, obviously, how they develop. So the first one, as it says here in the title, it says Xbox and Bethesda Softworks Developer Direct, January 25th, 2023. So same as how Nintendo does their Nintendo Directs, a lot of their companies have been copying that. Like Sony does the State of Play. Xbox has had a couple little developer directs, I think, before, that sort of thing. And so out of, earlier this week, maybe even last week, we got a heads up that Xbox is going to have their own little direct. It's going to be January 25th at about noon Pacific time. And yeah, if you read the story, it says that we can expect stuff from Elder Scrolls Online, Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends, and Redfall, which is like this new first-person shooter that they're developing. And I don't know if it's going to be only these 4 plus more, because it does say including. So we'll see how that goes. And I don't know, out of the games listed, don't really care for any of these, honestly. Me, Redfall, I don't remember where Redfall is. I would have to see what that is again. Maybe that one I might be interested in, since it's a new IP. But the rest of them, I'm not too interested in. But still, I'm still kind of, like I said, looking forward to it, but I still want to keep an eye on it, because I obviously have an Xbox Series S. I enjoy playing stuff on there using the Game Pass. I've talked about how I'm excited for the Persona games coming out in about a week. And, I'm always just excited to see what games are coming out for what system. And if there's something that catches my attention, I mean, that's cool. If there's nothing that catches my attention, whatever, it's not a big loss. But if there's something that catches my attention, then cool. That's something to look forward to, Yeah, especially because since Xbox has so much developers that they bought, you know what I mean? I was hoping there's at least something. Yeah. I hope there's at least something. Even if there's just one game, some sort of a little indie that catches my attention, that's good enough for me. That gives me something to look forward to. You know what I mean?
The Xbox has a lot of indies.
Yeah, that's, if I remember, that game that was in the running for I guess like Indie of the Year or like Indie what was it called? Indie of the Year or Indie Debut.
Yeah.
Tunic, that was on the Xbox. I played on there first before it came out on other stuff, and I really enjoyed that. I haven't finished that. It's been 6. I played it like a lot. Then I took a break. Then when I tried to go back to it, I couldn't remember what I was doing, which really sucked. So that was the problem. But I would like to return to that game at some point because it was really well made. It was really fun, really unique. And yeah, like that was on the Xbox first, from what I remember, like Xbox and like Steam maybe. So there's still like indie projects like that that come out on the Xbox first, and it's kind of fun, you know, being able to discover them. So, like I said, you know, I don't know if there's anything that I'm gonna like for sure, but I want to keep an eye out because you know, maybe the developer direct, maybe there'll be something that I like. And same thing with people listening. Maybe the same thing with people listening. Maybe there'll be something you guys like. So you know, tune in. Alrighty, and then jumping over to the second story. This one's one I'm pretty excited for. So as this one says, Kingdom Hearts Missing Link Beta reveals character customization, GPS mode, and more. And yeah, I'm excited for this one because I think the beta they had teased that was supposed to come out in late 2022. That ended up not happening. It ended up like coming out like barely like last week, I think, in Japan. And yeah, this is supposed to be like the next big thing because I think before Kingdom Hearts 4, what they had teased, or I wouldn't even know if it's gonna be Kingdom Hearts 4, right? I guess it could be like in our spinoff. Did they ever say it was Kingdom Hearts 4 for sure? Did they? Do you remember?
Yeah, they put at the end. They put the I.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
And
okay,
the V.
Yeah, I'm glad you can confirm. Good. Okay, so yeah, before Kingdom Hearts 4, they had teased that the things that are supposed to come out for sure before that is Kingdom Hearts Union X Dark Road, which finishes Xehanort's story. And then they had said that it was going to be a game called Missing Link. Those are like the two things that they confirm are coming before Kingdom Hearts 4. And so people have been excited for Missing Link to see, you know, what's going to happen because it takes place in an interesting part in the storyline. It's supposed to be a very different game. And what sucked is that we hadn't heard any news of it. It was like, you know, MIA for a long time. But
what we had saw, it looked really awkward. What we had saw, like you could tell it was very early when they showed it, and we hadn't heard about it for a while.
And then it was almost nothing. You know, it was like what it looked like it looked like super like pre-alpha footage or something that we saw.
It
was like GIFs basically. It wasn't even like real footage or anything.
It looked like X and Y. That's what the models looked like. Like they were like really tiny. And it looked all awkward when they were running around. And it was like, okay.
Yeah, everything was like untextured and stuff. Yeah. But anyway, the point is we hadn't had much news. You know, whether you want to call that information or not, some people say that doesn't even count, whatever. Point is, we hadn't had anything in a long time. And what we had was almost nothing. But finally, like I said, they started doing the beta over in Japan. And if you read about it, people have been giving their opinions so far. And it seems that people are enjoying it. It says that supposedly they can't share screenshots or footage, though I think some people did. I think they just kind of like broke the rules because I remember seeing some stuff online. But for sure, what we know is that people say they're enjoying it. They say that the visuals are pretty good for being a mobile game. They say that they're like about as good as like the Nintendo Switch, which is, you know, supposed to be like 720 / kind of 1080-ish at times.
It's supposed to be like 720 to 1080, yeah.
So for being a mobile game, that's pretty good if it can look around, you know, the level of the Switch. They said that it has a CGI intro. It has a new version of Dearly Beloved, which every Kingdom Hearts game, that's the title menu music. It has character customization, which is pretty cool. And they said that like the gameplay is really like intuitive and it's really easy. I'm not really easy. It's really like easy to like get into. And from what I saw of like some images and like some footage that like leaked, I guess. Yeah, basically you're running around this like Victorian era looking town. This is the best way to describe it. But there's like big skyscrapers, the crazy part. So it's kind of weird. So it's like big skyscrapers mixed with the kind of a Victorian feel, the way everybody's dressed. And basically the way you fight is that you like summon like little statuettes. And basically, let's say like you summon like a little trophy statuette that looks like Donald, and then you because Donald's like a magic user, and then you like shoot fire at the enemies.
Oh, cool.
And it's stuff like that where like, well, depending on who you summon, So it's very much reminiscent of the system of
like
like the
Chain of Memory.
cards, either from Chain of
Mm-hmm.
Memories or Unit X, where cards equal some sort of power. It's like
Yeah,
that, but instead of a card flashing on screen, it's the little statues, and the little statues give you powers.
that's pretty cool.
And from what I saw, like I said, it looked really good. And yeah, it just looks interesting. I'm really curious to see how it plays, how it'll tie into like the bigger story. I don't know. I'm just curious, but it's just kind of cool finally having more information and more looks at it because
About the game, yeah.
like I said, for the longest time we just had nothing. So the fact that we're getting there, it's starting to finally progress or whatever. It's like finally,
Mm-hmm.
that's good because the more this
That
progresses, the
we can
closer we
finally
get
get
to
it.
Kingdom Hearts 4, hopefully, you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, from what I saw, it looked pretty good. Oh, then I didn't mention the GPS mode. That's the one thing I didn't mention. So it's interesting because it says here it's supposed to be like a mix of Pokemon Go and Unchained X because it has two modes. It has pad mode, which is you actually playing the game, like a phone game, and you do the battles or whatever. And it has a GPS mode where similar to Pokemon Go, there will be like a little map that as you walk, the character walks around it, and when you have it in GPS mode, the battles will be automatic.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it's kind of funny. So basically, it's like if you're actually walking around, it rewards you by doing the battles for you, I guess, is like the difference. And then if
Let's
you're
go.
playing it as like an actual video game on your phone without like walking around, then you have to like control everything, I guess. So
Mm.
interesting. Two different types of play, interesting. But yeah,
I'm
from what I've
definitely doing that
seen,
GPS mode.
and I would like to. I would like to. But from what I've seen, it looks interesting, looks very unique, and I'm just curious to get more information. And like I said, to see how this ties into the overall Kingdom Hearts 4 and the overall story. So yeah, pretty cool stuff.
I'm excited for that, to see what the plot, how it connects, the newest to this game that we looking based off like the what we've been given basically. That yeah, it takes place in the past, so we need to see what it connects.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm not going to really explain where in the timeline because that might confuse people if they're not really sure about any of the Kingdom
Yeah,
Hearts
no,
lore.
I definitely not. Yeah,
But if you know about Kingdom Hearts, then you know kind of what characters might
where
show
it
up
would.
and what it's hinting at.
Hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, but cool stuff. I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to it. So there you
Hmm.
go. Alrighty, guys. Like I said, that's just the two news stories I had. Pretty short, but I'm excited for both of these because I just want to see, what they lead to. So there you go.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Now, before we close off, we always try to talk about some sort of a topic of the week. This one I kind of hinted at earlier, but with the NieR Automata anime finally debuting, I want to say that the game that I recommend that everybody should play is you guys should play NieR Automata, the video game. The reason for that is that, like I said, watching the anime adaptation of a game, some are good. A lot of them aren't that
Hmm.
great, but there's some that are good. But even then, even the best ones, I think they don't compete with playing the game itself. And NieR Automata is definitely one
Yeah.
of those that I recommend playing it because it is one of those anime. I mean, it is one of those games that is set up in such a way that it only works in the medium of video game. Like there's stuff that I
Yeah.
know even if the anime tries to cover it, they can't cover it the same way the video game covers it. Like
Hmm.
there's just something about playing the game, doing the different endings, doing the different routes, some of the meta stuff where it starts playing with like your UI and it starts playing with like your HUD and like some of the stuff that happens in the story. Like there's some
Yeah.
stuff you just can't recreate in other mediums.
Hmm.
And the game also, like even if like the story does really good, being adapted in the anime, just playing through the story yourself is just so impactful. Just like the
It's a good
atmosphere,
experience. Yeah.
yeah, like the atmosphere, the feeling of the controls, and doing all the cool combos yourself, and like making the choices of different stuff. Like, trust me, it's just one of those things that you have to play to get the full experience. And yeah, just to give someone a little bit of a little idea in case they're kind of lost because they may, at this point, I think people maybe have an idea what NieR's about, kind of, but in case, people aren't too sure, just to give like a quick little synopsis. Basically, NieR Automata takes place in a post-apocalyptic setting where it's been thousands of years since, any humans have really lived on Earth. And it is kind of complicated because it is the sequel to a game called NieR Replicant, which is also on the PS4. But it's one of those things where it's a sequel to the original NieR game, which itself is a spin-off of the Drakengard series. But I would say it's not necessary to play the other games, even though it would really help. And if you play them all, you'll notice different references and stuff. It's not absolutely necessary, which is good. But anyway, it takes place, thousands of years since humans have lived on Earth. And basically, it revolves around that there's a proxy war between human-made androids and machines, like robots, which is kind of funny because androids are also robots, but some are, robots, androids made by humans. And there's a war between the androids and the machine life forms from space. And basically, there's like this whole army, of androids, and they're called, they work with what's known as the Resistance to try to destroy the machines. And our protagonists are 2B, who is a combat android, 9S, who is a scanner android, which means he's more about like reconnaissance and doing hacking and stuff. And later we also are introduced to A2, who is like an older attack android. But we meet her later. That's kind of like spoiler stuff later. She goes into like more endgame stuff. But all you need to know is that there's 2B. She's your protagonist, when you start the game. And basically she's paired up with 9S, who is a scanner, and it's about their fight against the machines. And at some point, we find out that the machines, they have created the main antagonists, which are Adam and Eve, which are twin. Also, all the other robots look like little stubby, like tin cans. And these guys look like, these guys look like 2B and 9S. They look like androids. They look almost human-like. And they're two twin brothers that were created by the machines. And they're basically trying to, destroy the world. And so it's up to 2B and 9S to try to, turn the tides of the war and, try to defeat Adam and Eve and stuff. What's interesting, though, is that as you progress, you discover more about the lore of the world. There's some twists and turns. There's different routes, as I said. There's different endings. You discover more about A2 and her part as an original attack android, and she was there when stuff went down in the past. You discover that there's some machines that are actually peaceful. They live in a little village, and their leaders.
I know what you're talking about.
There's their leaders like this guy named Pascal. So you kind of see that not all the machines are violent. So that makes the androids, who are very, you can almost say racist towards the machines, makes them realize that there's more than they think to the war. There's more than they think to the machines and stuff. And it's hard to really talk about without getting into spoilers. But basically, just a very good story with very good combat and very tragic circumstances, because war obviously is always rough. And as you see these androids part in the war, it becomes really rough, seeing maybe the stuff they believe in isn't what they think. Like I said, maybe they don't even really know what they're fighting for in the end, and the way the characters progress is really interesting. It's hard to really talk around it, but and it's a really good game. Like a book. Yeah, it's a really good game, has really fun gameplay, has really good, like I said, atmosphere and stuff, really great music. The soundtrack is top tier. The characters are really interesting. 2B is voiced by Kira Buckland, whose name I forgot last time. Remember, it took me forever to remember her name. Now it's back in my brain. 2B is voiced by Kira Buckland. I think she does an excellent job voicing 2B. The 9S is voiced by Kyle McCarley. Man, when you see some the yelling and emotion he uses, also top tier. So I think the voice acting's good. I think the music's good. I think the combat's good. The atmosphere's good. And like I said, there's some stuff that it plays with that's only possible within the medium of video games, that when you experience it for yourself, it's just like a really unique experience.
Hmm.
So I would urge everyone to try to play this game. And it has like difficulty modes too. So if you're afraid that, oh, I'm not really good at like, character action games or whatever, you can put on like an easier mode and that'll probably help you so you can, get through the game. It
Hmm.
accommodates you. And what's really cool too is that it originally came out for PS4, right? But it's on
Yeah.
PS4, it's on Steam, it's on Xbox, the Xbox, systems. It's even on Switch now, so you can play it on just about anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I'm just saying. I think everybody should play it. It's just like a really special game. It's one of those games that, like, when they say like video games can be art, I don't know.
It's one of those games that can be
It's one of
art.
those
Yeah.
games that kind of makes a good argument for it. That yeah, like the way it messes with your emotions and like I said, it's really unique with how it plays with like a lot of the gimmicks and stuff. It's really good. It's really good. So I
Hmm.
recommend it. And like I said, it's on everything. And it's one of those things where yeah, you can watch the anime. And I do recommend maybe watching it after you play it to see like how well they adapt it. But I don't know,
Yeah.
man. If you want the unique experience, I think you should play this first before checking out the
Yeah.
anime. That way, you can like experience it better and have not get spoiled and stuff.
Yeah. I'm thinking of getting that Switch version, definitely.
Yeah, I remember.
Um.
I thought it was running OP on Switch. I didn't notice anything too bad. It's not going to
Mhm.
be as great as like the PS4 version or that,
I
but
was thinking that too, like the PS4 version, or if I can see if it runs on like my PC or something, then
yeah,
that too, that can be an option.
yeah. Because like I said, it's
Um,
on all systems, so it's just about choosing
hmm.
which one is best for you. But it looks like even the Switch version wasn't too bad, so it's worth a try.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys, and that brings us to the end of another podcast. As you can see, a lot of stuff that I recommend. I recommend all of the stuff I watched, as well as the NieR Automata game. As for Legend of Jonathan, I don't really know if he like recommends the stuff so much as he's like barely
Yeah.
It's more like you're barely discovering it for yourself, which you're
Hmm.
kind of having fun with. But it's still pretty cool.
I still definitely recommend, yeah, Ranma and Urusei, like the animes, because Ranma, funny enough, yeah, I don't know it like in depth compared like Urusei, but it's funny because I've always had a long history with it where they would put the trailer of the first movie
Oh
in
yeah,
like,
you mentioned that. You mentioned that in there.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so I
And I
was
was
like,
gonna
why
say
does this look familiar? And then
I was gonna say it's one
I
of those
found,
things where even though you aren't like you haven't consumed all of it yet, like you yourself haven't experienced it. I mean, it's one of those things where these are really well known. They've been around for
hmm.
like decades and people are still talking about them. So that must mean they did something right.
Hmm. So I definitely recommend it. And then with Sonic Frontiers, if you're someone that was like, hey, I don't want to like play the new Sonic game, that they've been garbage lately. Yeah, no, I definitely recommend that you guys try out Sonic Frontiers and play it because it's really good. The plot is good, the
Yeah,
music's very calming. Um, and yeah, it's just very fun, and it's fun too because it has like a level up system, and I think that's very unique for a Sonic game as well.
exactly. So there you go.
Hmm.
So basically everything we talked about during the course of this podcast, we recommend. So there you go, guys. That maybe inspires you guys to check out some new media.
Yeah.
But for now, like I said, this is the end of the podcast. Next week, we'll see what my situation is with the anime. If I decide to discuss some of them deeper or like just like bringing new ones to the table, we'll see if I play anything. We'll see how that goes. And yeah, we'll try our best to be back next week, as usual, if everything goes right. But until then, this is the end of episode 11. Thanks for listening, watching, wherever you might be doing so. And we're out, guys.
Bye bye.